Life is a grindstone. And whether it grinds a man down or polishes him up depends on the stuff that he's made of.
One day or day one. One day or day one. I'll do it one day. Okay? That's up to you. Or day one. This is day one. This is day one. That thing I have had in my crosshairs, that thing that I believe gets me out of bed, that thing that I run towards, that thing that I want to be passionate about, that thing I want to accomplish. Today is the first day. Today is day one.
So in life, it's real important to do what you say, because that's where true knowledge comes from. I wanted to quit every single day, but many dreams die while suffering. And many of us out here have suffered. And when you're suffering, I'm not talking about just physically, I'm talking about emotionally, spiritually. It could be a relationship. When you're suffering, you give up on the very things that you wanted the most. You can't outrun your demons. They'll always know where you're hiding. Trust me at that.
They print money, they don't print time. They don't print opportunities. You can lose money and get it back. You can't get time back.
But if you can remain hopeful in spite of all adversity, if you can just go to bed and just wake up tomorrow, every time you wake up, that's a sign from God that He ain't through with you yet.
Why continue? Why continue on that path? It was dark, and it was cold, and it was lonely. I've been there. I know how that feels. And it's scary. And it's lonely. This message is for the people who feel like all they have left are going through the motions, like all they have left are the cold and the dark, which seem to have become the only company they have. This message is for you. When you find yourself walking through the dark, through the cold, in search of the light, in search of a lifeline, realize that you were not supposed to find the light in this arena. You were supposed to become the light.
It's the kind of life that turns your alarm clock into an opportunity clock. The beautiful thing about understanding why I'm doing what I'm doing is when life knocks me down in those ventures, it's so much easier for me to get back up, because I know exactly why I am doing what I'm doing, and I can focus in on it, and I can take adversity, and I can take challenges, and I can take obstacles, and I can overcome them with positivity and remotivation and another level of focus, because I understand exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing and why I'm spending my time, the most valuable resource I have, in that particular area of my life.
Your life is not a practice round. It's not a rehearsal for the real thing, and there's no redo. So of course in this journey we're all gonna fall at some point, but we were not meant for failure here. So when you feel tempted to give up, when you feel tempted to hang your head in front of failure's face, realize that although you may have bruises and broken bones, they will be a testament in the end of how far you have come.
If you will resolve with whatever life hands you to carry on, there is nothing that can stop you from achieving the greatness for which you were created.
Once something's important to you, it never leaves your mind.
I live for today, and I don't care what happened yesterday. I live in the moment, because that's the only thing we have in our lives, are moments in time. And as soon as I've gone out that door, we can never reverse back and play it again.
You've just gone through a breakup, and it's the worst thing you've ever been through. Some of you lost your job, and you thought that job was it. And so all of a sudden you're sitting there and you're thinking, man, I thought my life was together, now it's in shambles at my feet. No, it's not. It's all right. A blade does not become strong until it's been through the fire.
The price of regret is much heavier than the price of discipline. You never want to wake up one day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year down the road and go, shh, man, I wish I would have listened to my gut. I wish I would have done this thing. You don't want to live in regret. If there's something you want to get done in work, your relationships, school, whatever it is, do it.
There is no prize out there. The only prize is this one and what you feel and what you want to accomplish. I mean, to want and to be ambitious and to want to be successful is not enough. That's just desire. To know what you want, to understand why you're doing it, to dedicate every breath in your body to achieve. If you feel you have something to give, if you feel that your particular talent is worth developing, is worth caring for, then there's nothing you can't achieve.
You are that candle. You are that flame. You were supposed to be there. You were supposed to walk through this shadow because it needs a light.
Everyone eventually goes through periods of great difficulty, their own private hells, their dark nights of the soul. But it is by facing whatever life gives us with courage and determination that we grow more surely toward the stars.
The biggest enemy you'll ever have to fight against is yourself. You want to change your life? You want to save more money? You want to get in shape? What's the thing that holds you back from doing any of those? It's you. You get in your own way every single fucking time.
You gotta get to a point where you're tired of losing. You gotta decide you're not gonna be a fucking loser anymore. You're gonna be a winner. Stop letting yourself down. Stop breaking all these promises you make to yourself about how you're really going to do it this time. This is the last time I give into that addiction. If you don't truly mean it, don't bother saying it. But if you truly do want to change, you've got to decide wholeheartedly that I will not deviate from the plan. I will stick to it no matter what happens. I will execute every day of my life on that goal, on that vision, as if my life depends on it.
Stop taking your life so casually. You've got to get serious about making the changes you want to see. Don't leave room in your life for laziness. Don't leave room for slacking off. Don't leave room for sickness. Don't leave room for excuses. Don't leave room for just this one time. No!
You've got to have the mindset of a motherfucking machine. And that machine cares about one thing and one thing only, executing on the goal. If it doesn't support your goals, you cut it out of your life. If you know it will help you achieve the vision, you double down on it.
Disciplining your mind every single day is what leads to success. Discipline is what breaks through all the infinite excuses and reasons you come up with on why you can't do it. The more you do those hard tasks you gotta do, facing those hard things and destroying them, executing on the mission, your daily life will get better and better.
You have to reach a point where you don't let your bullshit feelings control the outcomes. You get it done whether you want to do the work or not.
You don't have time to be in your feelings. The weights won't lift themselves. The work won't complete itself. The books won't study themselves. You have to do it, and you have to do it now.
And while you're sitting there thinking, hesitating, debating in your head whether you should go do it or not, you're falling behind. Get your ass up and get to fucking work.
The more you grind, the more you execute on the mission. You will separate yourself further and further from the crowd of average people who would rather spend their time coming up with reasons why they can't get it done today.
You don't just work out once, study once, invest once, and change your life overnight. No, you have to be consistent. You have to never let your foot off the gas, never stop, never quit. You have to do that thing you gotta do every day of your fucking life. You may hate it some days, but you gotta do it relentlessly and know that in the end, it'll all be worth it. The sacrifices you're making today for a better tomorrow are gonna pay off. But if you quit, if you let up, it's not gonna happen. Stay focused and stay on track. Don't let anyone or anything pull you off the plan. You have got to stop rationalizing. Stop making excuses. Stop telling yourself little watered down assessments of where you're really at. Tell yourself the truth. And the truth is that you do have the time. You do have the money. You do have the support. You do have the willpower and the discipline to get it done. And when we're being honest with ourselves, we know that we can all do much more than what we're doing right now. We can all give more to life than what we are right now.
So you got to decide within yourself that you're going to start working harder than ever. You're going to start going to work earlier. You're going to be the last one to leave there. You're going to try harder than anyone else would even dare to. Other people will think, why would you even bother doing that much? Why do you try so hard? You're doing too much. But they won't understand. Pay no attention to them. They'll never get it because they don't have that killer mentality. When you're a killer, you keep striving for that highest level possible, and you don't stop until you get it.
Get in the habit of doing more than what anyone is willing to pay you to do, because that's where success is born. It's going beyond people's expectations and amazing them. You shock the world with your results.
And that work begins right now with no one looking. It's what you do in the shadows, in those early mornings, late nights, where you're grinding away on those tasks and goals. Those moments are what bring it into the light, where all eyes are on you.
The price for greatness must be paid every day. And that price is discipline, sweat, suffering, enduring, consistency. And at the end of it all, you win.
People want to find peace immediately, but the only way you'll find real peace is by going to war with yourself every single day.
The real battleground is in your mind. That's where the fight is. You lay down with it, you get up with it, you go to work with it. It's not haters, it's not enemies, it's not liars, it's not backbiters, it is you. You're the only one who can stop you. And I need you to make a declaration right now. No more excuses. This moment right here is the last time you let yourself off the hook.
You've got to become obsessed with improvement. Every day you got to get better.
There are those of you who buy a new piece of tech every time a new one is released. Every new phone that comes out, you get it. Every upgrade, you get it. You are constantly upgrading your technology, and you've not upgraded yourself.
You got to level yourself up every single year, every single month, every single day. You should always be striving to do better than you did last time.
So many of you say, I want to be a millionaire. I want to graduate at the top of my class. But your value system says you believe in relaxing more than you believe in grinding. Your value system says you'd rather party than become successful. Your value system says you're a consumer and not a producer. And if you're going to go to the next level, your values are going to have to change.
The secret is, make a plan, execute the plan, become obsessed with the plan, and make it your entire life from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed for 20 fucking years.
It's the day-to-day disciplines. It's the eating the meals, doing the workouts, doing the best you can in your career, doing the best you can for your family. Those are the things that are going to create your superpower so that you can go through life being an unstoppable force.
Most things that never get done because they never get started. There is no perfect time to start. You got to start now with changing your life.
Stop sitting on the fucking bench and get in the motherfucking game. Let's make this the year where we stop that shit.
Years of mediocrity is what causes people to be bitter. If you want to get around bitter and complaining people, get around people who are not seeing much activity. They're bitter, they're complaining, they're cynical, and they're jealous because nothing is happening, because nothing is going on in their life. And if you want to stop that from happening to you, wake up in the bed and know what you're going after. get up out of the bed with an agenda. When you have an agenda, you don't spend time worrying about how you feel, because it doesn't make a difference how you feel. You woke up with something to do, and if you don't start changing your attitude, you will miss your altitude.
The problem is not the condition, it's a matter of discipline. There is no shortcut to excellence. You gotta force yourself to get up and get it done.
Your excuses will destroy you and take everything that you ever wanted from you, if you let them. When your excuses make you feel a little bit better about the fact that you didn't execute on what you needed to execute on, then they can make you feel better, but they're not helping you. They're not helping you at all.
Why does discipline equal freedom?
Because the more discipline you have in your life, the more freedom you will end up with. So if you lack the discipline to exercise and eat healthy, you will end up being a slave to disease. If you lack the discipline to work hard, save your money, you will end up a slave to finances. If you lack the discipline to manage your time correctly, you will end up with no free time. If you have self-discipline, if you have the discipline to save your money and work hard and invest your money properly, if you have the discipline to manage your time correctly and not waste a bunch of time, if you have the discipline to exercise and eat healthy, you will end up with freedom. If you want freedom in your life, you have to have discipline. Because if you're a kid right now and you're eating Doritos off your belly, I know they taste good and there's some immediate gratification, and I get that. But I'm gonna tell you, it starts right now. Throw that bag of Doritos away. Get rid of it. Go do some push-ups. Go spend $12 at the hardware store and hang up a pull-up bar in your room and start doing pull-ups. And if you can't do one pull-up, hang on that bar. And you're gonna start to get a little bit stronger. You're gonna start to get a little bit healthier. You're gonna start to get more focused. You're gonna start to become more resilient. And you're gonna start to understand the world better. And you're gonna start to progress in every aspect of your life. And you'll see that if you have that kind of discipline right now, you're gonna end up with freedom. Because you're sad, now you're gonna make a bunch of bad decisions because you're sad. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You're sad, okay. You get emotional sometimes, okay. Got it. Now, get control of your emotions and carry on with your life. And sometimes you're gonna get hit with those waves, and that's okay. No, at a certain point, you say, okay, my emotions are now leading me down the wrong path. I'm in control. I'm not gonna allow my emotions to make my decisions. They're in the calculus. I'm not saying take your emotions out of the calculus, but they have to be one component of your calculus, not the whole equation. You can't pull them out of there or they'll bite you, but you can't make them the overwhelming denominator of everything that you do, or it's gonna be problematic. You have to start moving forward. You have to start taking steps in order to improve your vision, improve your perspective, change your perspective, make some kind of progress. And worst case scenario, you figure out that you walked the wrong direction. Okay, now you can go walk in the other direction. And that's gonna be fine. But standing there lost and not doing anything is just waiting to die, waiting to starve to death. Don't let that happen. I had to condition people to take action, even in the SEAL teams. Even a young SEAL leader who you would think would be by nature aggressive and an action taker, you put them in a pressure situation where there's not a ton of information and they need to make a decision, they don't want to act either. So one of the things that I would teach was that their default mode was to be aggressive. Their default mode was to take action. I would teach that. Same thing we just discussed. I wouldn't say, hey, look, that means you have to take action, but your default setting should be, I'm gonna do something. Because I'd have a young SEAL officer and there'd be some training mission and there'd be a problem in a building and there'd be a bunch of paintball flying around in there, and he wouldn't want to go solve that problem. He'd back away from that problem. And I would have to go like push him in the back and say, you see that problem over there? You got to go solve that problem. It's not going to go away. You got to be aggressive. That's got to be your default mode, is to take action and make things happen. Because most human instinct is to wait. Most human instinct is to hesitate. Most human instinct is to let things go longer and stick with the status quo. And that seems to be on the front, the lowest risk in the situation is to not do anything. It usually appears to be the lowest risk. So to train people to, oh, I need to take risk, some level of risk, take action, because in the long run, I say 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 times, action is better than inaction.
The biggest enemy you'll ever have to fight against is yourself. You want to change your life? You want to save more money? You want to get in shape? What's the thing that holds you back from doing any of those? It's you. You get in your own way every single fucking time.
You gotta get to a point where you're tired of losing. You gotta decide you're not gonna be a fucking loser anymore. You're gonna be a winner.
Stop letting yourself down. Stop breaking all these promises you make to yourself about how you're really going to do it this time. This is the last time I give in to that addiction. If you don't truly mean it, don't bother saying it. But if you truly do want to change, you've got to decide wholeheartedly that I will not deviate from the plan. I will stick to it no matter what happens. I will execute every day of my life on that goal, on that vision, as if my life depends on it.
Stop taking your life so casually. You've got to get serious about making the changes you want to see. Don't leave room in your life for laziness. Don't leave room for slacking off. Don't leave room for sickness. Don't leave room for excuses. Don't leave room for just this one time. No.
You've got to have the mindset of a motherfucking machine. And that machine cares about one thing and one thing only: executing on the goal. If it doesn't support your goals, you cut it out of your life. If you know it will help you achieve the vision, you double down on it.
Disciplining your mind every single day is what leads to success. Discipline is what breaks through all the infinite excuses and reasons you come up with on why you can't do it. The more you do those hard tasks you gotta do, facing those hard things and destroying them, executing on the mission, your daily life will get better and better.
You have to reach a point where you don't let your bullshit feelings control the outcomes. You get it done whether you want to do the work or not. You don't have time to be in your feelings. The weights won't lift themselves. The work won't complete itself. The books won't study themselves. You have to do it, and you have to do it now.
And while you're sitting there thinking, hesitating, debating in your head whether you should go do it or not, you're falling behind. Get your ass up and get to fucking work.
If someone was on the extreme end of that disease of excuse and blame and all of those things, is there anything that you could do or you would advise them to do to kind of walk back from there, to get over the other side? Because I think we can all think of people in our lives, and maybe even ourselves at times, who have gotten into a chronic pattern of using excuses and blame as a form of self-defense.
Well, unfortunately, what happens a lot, and you may or may not have seen this, but I would assume you've seen this at some point in your life. People, and this is a term, there's a term, it's rock bottom, right? This is a term that we hear for someone that's addicted, someone that's an alcoholic, someone that's physically let themselves go, someone that's put themselves into a situation with their finances or their work or whatever, where they reach rock bottom. But when the excuses all go away and people can actually confront the fact that this is all because of me, and it hurts, but is also unbelievably empowering, because if these problems are because of me, then I'm capable of fixing these problems. So even though extreme ownership hurts and is painful, it's also liberating because now you have control over your fate and over your destiny, and that is a glorious thing.
Are excuses the opposite? Excuses and blame, is that the opposite of extreme ownership?
That is the opposite of extreme ownership. Extreme ownership is, this went wrong, this failed, didn't accomplish this, and it's not the fault of my boss, it's not the fault of my girlfriend, it's not the fault of my parents, it's not the fault of the weather, it's my fault. And I'm gonna take ownership of it, and I'm gonna fix it. That's what extreme ownership is. And this is a very difficult thing to do because it hurts. Because when you look around at your life, and you look around at your job and your financial situation and your relationship and your physical health, and when you look at all those things and all the problems that you may have with those things, and you say, the reason I have all those problems is because of me, that can hurt. That can sting. And a lot of times our ego rejects that and makes excuses and lies. And then we don't have to change anything. And then nothing changes. What you learn to do is, okay, I'm gonna go forward. I can't get out of this. I'm gonna go forward. I'm not gonna quit, so I'm gonna go forward. Bring it on. If I'm in the woods, which is where you are right now, you're in the woods and you don't know where to go because the wife's not there anymore, the job's not there anymore, you don't know where to go right now. So if you're in the woods and you don't know where to go, start walking. What you learn to do is, okay, I'm gonna go forward. I can't get out of this. I'm gonna go forward. I'm not gonna quit, so I'm gonna go forward. Bring it on. And I think if there's anything that you learn, it's to keep pushing through things that suck.
Can you teach that? Let's go. We're gonna jump back in the water. Let's go.
I think that's one of the few things that you learn in basic SEAL training is to shrug your shoulders and go forward. This is just something that's gonna suck and you're gonna have to push through it.
Many dreams die while suffering. I'm talking about emotionally, spiritually. It could be a relationship. When you're suffering, you give up on the very things that you wanted the most.
Life is going to beat you upside your head. Before you blow up, life will strip you to the core.
What makes you get up when you fall down? What makes your mentality change if there's a great situation or there's a bad situation? How do you dictate that based off the level of pain? I need you to evaluate yourself and ask yourself the question, how are you wired? When you have a trial or a tribulation, how are you wired? Does it break you? Your problem is your pain has identified you. Your pain has destroyed you.
All of us will hit the wall. That wall shocked some people. That wall knocked the life out of some people. It didn't work out for them. They hit the wall and they turned around. But there's some small number. They decide, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be over there. This kind of person refuses to be denied.
I'm wired differently. I get excited about no. I love no. I love it. It turns me on. No, Eric, I'll be back. I'll be stronger when I come back.
This person doesn't care about the pain because this person knows something. There's no gain without pain. So this person comes back anyhow, again and again. And if you keep on hitting that wall, here's what happens to you. You will have an incredible breakthrough. And it's as if the universe says, let's help him out. I admire that kind of tenacity. Let's give her a hand. Let's send her assistance, send her resources. It will come out of nowhere. As you're working times with tears falling down your face, and you'll look back on the times and you will cherish those times.
When your mind knows it's not going to quit, your body will adapt to whatever is in front of it.
What happens is you have all these voices that are telling you you're fucked up and this is going to be hard. But for some reason, you put so much practice into you that you can ignore every one of them that are telling you you're not going to make it and still be able to make it because you have put the practice in that you know this is the process. It's such a daunting task that all the voices are saying no. But you still have the conviction that I know I can do this.
When you get knocked down, and you're going to get knocked down, when you run into some roadblocks and you're going to run into them, you can always be able to bring yourself back in, knowing if someone has done it, it's possible that I can do it.
Some of you have been knocked out by life, and you got up and saw the blood, and he hit me. Sometimes in life, you have to hit back. You got knocked on the ground. You had absolutely nothing to do with that. And I'm not blaming you for that. But if I come back a week later, you still on the ground. If I come back a year later, you still on the ground, that's your fault. If you get knocked down, there's nothing you can do about it. But getting back up has every single thing to do with you. And you will promise me that from this day forward, you will not be defeated. I just love myself enough not to be trapped in the same doggone spot for the rest of my life. I love myself too much. So what makes E.T. different than everybody else? Every year I just kept going. I kept going and I kept going and I kept saying one day gonna be my day. But you know what I'm not gonna do? I'm not gonna quit in the process. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna give in. And the problem with you, you've not recycled your pain. You're still living off talent. And I challenge you, average people live on talents. Phenomenal people live off efforts. Recycle your pain. Get something from it. You're already in pain. Use it. Do something with it. Allow it to take you to the next level. Allow your pain to push you to greatness.
Success isn't a straight line. It's a maze. And when you think you figure that maze out, you hit a wall. And you got to turn around and start again. Everybody's got a plan so they can hit the mouth. So when your plan fails, when you get knocked down the canvas, when everything falls apart in your life and your plan is up, what the are you going to do? There's only one motherfucking option. Stay hard.
And I'm not here because I'm the best. I'm here because they tried to break me and they couldn't. Oh, I'm wired differently. I didn't start crying. I didn't say, why me? I'm doing good to the world. I'm not hurting anybody. Why me? I'm wired differently. I can. I will. I must. We turn tragedy into triumph. That's what lions do. It does not make a difference what the circumstances is. Lions don't cry. Lions don't give up. Lions don't quit. Lions hunt. That's what we do for a living. So do me a favor, from this point forward, execution is worship. I don't make the big bucks because I talk. I make the big bucks because I execute.